guys, welcome to another video on HTML5 and CSS3. In this video I'm going to teach you how to create rounded corners and shadows. Okay, so the first thing I want you guys to do is create a div inside your body, so you can delete all from the last video as well as the style.css. We'll create all new properties in CSS. So the div ID, let's give it a name of let's call it main. And in here, let's create a paragraph. This is the main box. Okay, now let's go and style this box with main. In here, let's type a border 1 pixel, solid black. Let's give it a width of 300 pixels, and let's give it a background color of let's say green. Okay, let me check that out. Oops, sorry. Let me check that now. Okay, so this is now the box that we have. Okay, now let me center this. I'm gonna center this. Center the text. Let me use the text align center. Yes, and also check that. Let me type here. Well, gonna leave it this way. Okay, as you can see, I'm gonna show you now how easy you can turn the corners. You see we have normal corners. I'm gonna show you how to create rounded corners, okay, in this div. So you have to type a simple property, which is WebKit border and radius, and let's give it a 10 pixel radius. So you can give it a 10, a 20, whatever size or whatever angle it's going to be the radius of the corner. Okay, and you'll see that when I refresh, boom, perfect. Okay, so let's say let's give it a 20 pixel radius border, so you'll see the difference. Refresh, and there it is. Okay, bigger the number, the bigger the radius of the corner is. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how to create a shadow to the box, okay, or a shadow to whatever div you want in your website. Now, to create a shadow, we just have to type WebKit box shadow, and now we create RGB, which is the color, and we have to create now 3 values, which are 110, 110, and 110. And these values, these 3 values, are basically how much darker or wider you want the shadow to be. So the much higher number you go, the more darker you'll have the shadow. Now the values go from 0 to 255. Okay, so you can play with them and see the different dark and clearer colors that you can put in the shadow. Okay, but I'm gonna leave this my way, 110, 110, 110, and after this you need 3 values. You need 8 pixels, 8 pixels, and 8 pixels. Now what this means is the 8 pixels is the size of the shadow. The first 8 pixels on is the below, sorry, the first 8 pixels, this one here is the right size of the shadow at the right of the box. This second 8 pixels is the bottom, and this 8 pixel, the third one, is the blur that you want for the shadow. So before we type the blur, let's just do 8 pixels only. Let's see the result of this. Okay, nothing happens because we need the other 8 pixels. Let me save this. Let me go back here, refresh, and there it is. Okay, 8 pixels from the right, 8 pixels from the bottom, or to the bottom. And I think 8 pixels is too much, so I'm gonna put 5 pixels each. Okay, there it is, perfect. And now I want to give a little bit blur to the shadow. So another, let's give it a 8 pixel. Let's refresh, and there it is. Okay, really awesome effect of the shadow. This looks like a real shadow to me. Okay, now another thing you can use also to give a sensation of a button, pressed button, is the inset. Okay, and you'll see just right away the effect that this will give. Okay, you don't see it because the green color doesn't. Let's put this as orange. Okay, refresh. Okay, you see that the shadow turns into the inside of the box. So it looks like I'm pressing this as a button. So this is something you can use to give effect to a button when you use buttons with JavaScript or PHP or something like that. So that's pretty much it. If you have any questions about corners, rounded corners, or shadows, just post a comment, post your questions in the comment section below, and or send me a private message. Okay, see you guys in the next video. Bye. Hello guys, welcome to another video on HTML5 and CSS3. In this video I'm going to talk about text shadows, gradients, and transparency, or alpha values. So the first thing I want you guys to do is inside the div ID main, in the paragraph, let's give this an ID. I'm going to show you how to create text shadows. Okay, I'm going to create for this text here, I'm going to create a shadow for this. So we have to give an ID, and here you can type text. Let's save this. Let's go to style.css, and let's grab the ID text. And in here, let's give it a font. Let's give it bold and 30 pixels. And here, let's give Times New Roman. Let's save this. Let's check this out in Chrome. Oops, sorry. Okay, there it is. So I made the text a little bit bigger for you to see clearer the text shadow working. Now let's go to style.css, and here to make a text shadow it's pretty simple. Just have to type text shadow RGB, pretty much as we did the box shadow. 110, let's give it the same 110 values, and that's pretty much it. And here let's give it 3 pixels here, 3 pixels and 3 pixels, and let's run this in here. Just a second. Forgot to put here the semicolon. Let's save this. Let's refresh it, and there it is. Boom. Perfect. Okay, you see a perfect text shadow behind the text itself. Okay, perfect. Now another cool feature is the gradients, or the gradient. The gradient is basically, I'm gonna do it first, and you'll get pretty much the idea what the gradient is. Most of you guys already probably know what this is, and we use a lot these gradients on the new websites, and most of the websites use this. Web designers use this kind of effect. So first thing you have to do is go here, take the orange out, the background, and here let's type WebKit linear gradient, and here I'm going to type 3 values. Where do you want the gradient to start? Either top or bottom, left or right. What color is the start color, the starting color, and what will it turn to? It will turn into white. You'll see this will make more sense when you see now the result. And there it is. This is the gradients. When it turns from a dark color to a lighter color, in this case black to white. Okay, now you can use this, you can change where do you want to start the dark, either from the top, from the bottom. Let's change this from the bottom, or to the bottom, and let's go here, refresh, perfect. Or you can change it to the left, okay, or you could change it to the right, sorry. Or you can also use degrees. You can use 45 degrees, for example. Sorry, DEG. You can use it this way, and if you refresh, there it is. Okay, so you can play a little bit more with this, and this is how you can turn your website with pretty cool effects. Another cool gradient that you can use is the radial. So change the linear to radial, and here we're gonna give we're gonna type center is where we want to start the gradient in. Circle, which is the form of the radial. We want a circle in the middle, and now we type the color red and percentage, and also let's type orange and a percentage again. Now what this percentage means is where do you want the red to be start fading. Okay, so but to make it more sense, let's just go here, refresh, and this is what the gradient radial circle is. Pretty much we've created a circle in the middle, okay, and we've said I want the red to be fading to orange at 0% and orange at 50%. If you want to play with this a little bit more, just type let's say a 10% and go here and refresh. You see that it gets more red. Okay, so it will start getting to orange a little bit later. Okay, you see? Perfect. But you can play this with a little bit more to get familiar with, and this is basically how you can turn your sections of your website with fine little colors, pretty colors, and make your site more presentable to the user with a lot of cool features. Now I want to talk to you about something else, which is the alpha, or the transparency that you can give to the box shadow. So we have here the box shadow, and I want to give to the shadow a little bit more transparency that I have in here. Okay, you see it's a little bit dark. So to do that, I just have to change this to RGB A. A stands for alpha, and this has a fourth value, and it's a .6 or 0.6, and this will make a transparency to the shadow. You'll see that when I refresh, you'll get a nice transparency all around the box. I can change this to either 9, okay, or let's change this to 3, a little less or a little more transparency. Okay, as you can see here, we almost can't see the shadow. So you can play with that a little bit more as well, get familiar with that as well. And if you have any questions at all, just send me a private message, or post your questions in the comment section below. Okay guys, see you guys in the next video. Bye. Hello guys, welcome to another video on HTML5, and we will proceed with some more new cool stuff, and that's called transformations. So to proceed, let's proceed with this, with the same code we left on the last video. As you can see, I have here pretty much the simple HTML5 that I created, okay, from the last video. And the style.css, I've changed a few little things and deleted all those shadows, effects, and all that. So make sure you have your style.css like this. Okay, I've created this margin 0 pixels auto. Okay, I've changed the border as well, the background blue, and color white, so the text will be in white. You can leave the text with pretty much the same properties. Now if I go and run it, if I go and run this in Chrome, let me just click here. Oops, always forget you have to run always the HTML5, not the CSS file, otherwise you'll get a lot of the CSS code in your web browser. So launch Chrome. Okay, this is the result that you'll have. Okay, we have a simple box, and now I'm going to apply some transformations with CSS3 to this box. And let me go here, style.css. So to apply some transformations to it, the first thing you have to do is type WebKit transform colon. Now we type value or property, which is, let's start for this one, scale. And if I type, let's say 1.2, it's pretty much what this will do is change the scale of, there it is, of the box itself. Okay, you can still do 1.6. Let's refresh, and there it is. Okay, pretty much changes the scale of the size of the box itself. You can also use, instead of a dot, use a comma, and this what we'll do is stretch this with X and Y. Okay, and you'll see the result. And there it is. Okay, what this will do is stretch. The 1 is for width and the 6 is for height. Okay, so if you do here 1 would be 1, 1 would be the original position. There it is. But if I type, let's say, width, scale it with a 3, and the height will be the original 1. Let's see the result. There it is. Perfect. Okay, so you can scale it with the width and the height with a comma separated. Now another cool property you can use is the rotate parenthesis, and here you can type, for example, 45 dg, which means basically rotate 45 degrees the box that we have here, and there it is. Pretty cool stuff. Okay, all this possible because of the CSS3 technology, and it's pretty cool. You can change it to whatever degrees you want. Let's say I want 55 degrees. There it is. Okay, you can put this in whatever degrees you want. Now another also cool feature, well, it's not so cool comparing to others, but is the translate. And this basically what it does is move the box. Now it has two values. The first value is from right to left, so is the X or axis. Okay, the width, sorry, the from right to left, or from left to right, sorry, and the other value is the Y, from up to down of the web page. So from right to left, let's give it 150 pixels, and up and down 200 pixels. Let's just see what happened to the box. So refresh, and what happened was that I moved from left to right, firstly 150 pixels. Okay, from left to right. Okay, these are 150 pixels from not this space here, but the original space, and then 200 pixels down. Okay, so it basically is a way to move the box, okay, using the translate. And obviously you can also use negative values, okay, so it will move backwards or up. Okay, now let's use some more complex properties. Basically complex because we are going to use different properties that we've learned so far in the same line. Okay, so basically you can't use WebKit transform, and down here if you want another property, use again WebKit transform. Okay, you have to use them all in the same line of WebKit transform, and I'm going to show you how you can do that. So let's say translate, I want to move this by 200 pixels and 200 pixels and space. And now I'm going to use another property, which is the rotate 45 degrees, and another, let's scale this by 0.5. okay, now we have 3 different properties of the transform, and let's see how this is gonna work. I always forget you have to run it here. Okay, this is not the result. Just a second. Let me run this in Chrome. Okay, and there it is. Pretty small box, but this is the result of the 3 values or properties that I gave in the transform here. Okay, so you can use every as much as properties, sorry, as much as properties as you want, but it always has to be in the same line. Okay. Now I'm gonna also post probably at the end of the course a few files that you can download with all the values of the WebKit, or sorry, of all the properties on the WebKit that you can use, okay, and all the values, a list of all the values and properties you can use. So you'll have whenever you want to use them, you have a list, and just check it out. And you can also, I think I'm gonna try to show you all, pretty much all the important properties that you can use and the values you can use in the WebKit, but probably some of them I will not show you because they are pretty useful. But you can check out the list at the end of the course. I'm going to post a list with all the values and properties you can use. Okay, so see you guys in the next video, and if you have any questions, just post your questions in the comment section below. Okay, see you later. Hello guys, welcome to another video on HTML5 and CSS3, and we'll start in this video creating some animations in your web page. So in your style.css, just leave this selector and these properties, okay? Margin auto, border 2 pixel solid, width, the test.html is the same one. And let's check this out. Here, refresh. Okay, this is what you'll get. Now I'm gonna start animating this box. Okay, to do that, I'm gonna show you how you can, whenever you, I don't think you see my cursor of the mouse, but whenever you hover the mouse cursor in the box will change and will animate a little bit. And the first thing you have to type is main hover. A lot of you guys already know what this means. Hope so, because hover is a property very important in CSS. Basically, what do you want to do when you hover it? When you hover the main, in this case, which is the box. And what I want to do is WebKit transform, and now you type rotate, and parentheses. Inside the parentheses you type the degrees you want to rotate. Let's type 55 deg. Okay, now let's go back to the browser, refresh it. Now you'll see that whenever I hover it, it will turn into 55 degrees automatically. Okay, pretty cool, pretty awesome stuff. Now, pretty simple, but it's not really an animation because it's pretty lame, because pretty simple transformation. I'm going to show you how to really animate this. So to really animate this, we have to go in here and type WebKit and now you type transition colon, and now what you will do is to type, firstly, the first value you have to give is what is the animation or the transition that you want to do. So we have to give this WebKit transform, which is the one animation that we want to grab. So type WebKit transform, and we want to give this animation, or this second value that we want to give to the WebKit transform, is the time that we want the animation to have until it reaches to the rotation of 55 degrees in this case. So I want to give it, let's give it a 2-second semicolon, save, and let's go back to the browser, refresh, and now if you pass the cursor over it, there it is. Okay, awesome animation with HTML5 and CSS3. Okay, pretty awesome. It's pretty much like Flash animation. So as you can see, HTML5 and CSS3 will pretty much put the Flash into his knees with these kind of animations. It's pretty awesome. So this is just a simple example. You'll see later on the potential of animations that you will be able to do in your web page with HTML5 and CSS3. Pretty amazing. So let's proceed. Now I'm going to show you a pretty awesome animation right now, and you'll be blown away. And the first thing I want you guys to do is let me check, is to change the color. Let's change the color here to white, FFF, save it. Now the transition, let's leave it that way. Here let's type WebKit border radius 10 pixels, so we'll have rounded corners, a little bit more futuristic. And now let's type here as well the width, let's type 100 pixels. Let's give it a height here of 75 pixels. Background can be red, and basically that's it. Now down here in the transformation, let's change this and give the WebKit transform to seconds. Now I'm going to give some more properties here, or values. Opacity 2 seconds. Okay. Background 2 seconds, comma, and you have to separate always with a comma these values. The width 2 seconds, and the height, I forgot the comma, the height 2 seconds. Okay. Now I think that is all. Okay, so as you can see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different values or properties that we gave to the transition. Now the next thing we need is to change a few little things here. So here, instead of 55 degrees, let's type 360 degrees. So you'll get pretty much the idea when you see the results. It will rotate all by itself. Now opacity 1, let's give it a background. Let's give it a 1 EC 7 E6. The width, let's give it a 4500 pixel, and the height 110 pixels. Okay, now let me save this and fasten your seatbelts, because you'll see an awesome creation when you hover it with your mouse cursor. How awesome is this animation with HTML5 and CSS3? It's the first time I saw it, I was blown away by this. Okay, so imagine the possibilities and the potential of these kind of animations in your future web pages. You have a ton of possibilities with these kind of animations, and with all these properties that you have. So you can play a little bit more with these properties and see the results. This is just a simple thing you can do. You can do more complex stuff with animations with the WebKit transition and the WebKit transform. Okay, so this is all for this video. If you have any questions, just you already know, just post your questions in the comment section below, and see you guys later. Bye. Hello and welcome to another HTML5 and CSS3 tutorial. And in this video I'm going to talk and we will start working with JavaScript in HTML5. So we will get rid of the CSS file. We will not use that anymore. As you can see here, I only have my test.html file ready. And the first thing I want you guys to do is to clean the body section. And also, we'll not need this line here as well. You can take the title out as well. Or let's leave the title. You can click on the Control Z to return back, and here let's type JavaScript with HTML5. Okay, let's save this. Perfect. Now the first thing you should do is create a new file, which is going to be the external JS file. And obviously in this from this point on in the video tutorials, I'll be talking about JavaScript, so you should get you should have a background on JavaScript. So if you don't know JavaScript, you should get you should go to the JavaScript chapter that I have on the course and walk through those tutorials and then return back here. Okay, otherwise you will not understand what I'm talking about. Now let's save this file as let me type here, let's type javascript.js. Okay, JS, as you probably know, stands for JavaScript file. Save that. Okay, we have our javascript.js ready. Now we have to make a link related to that file, javascript.js. To do that, we type script, and remember the old way was script type and then JavaScript text, something like that. And now we don't need that anymore on HTML5. We only need the source to grab the file, and the file is in the same directory that my HTML file, so I only need to put the name of the file .js. Okay, another cool feature of HTML5, less code is always better code. Awesome. So save this. Okay, And now inside the body, I want you guys to create a div ID. Let's call this wrapper. Close this. And inside the div wrapper, let's create p close paragraph, my first JavaScript. Copy that. Second. Can type my second and my third. Perfect. Save that. And now we are ready to start doing some JavaScript code in the JS file. Alright, before that I forgot, we have to let's give some IDs to, let's type here first, second, and the third one, it's called third. Now we are ready. Don't forget to save it. Now I'm going to show you how to use the Query Selector, which is basically a new function available in to use in JavaScript with HTML5. Now to see that in action, to see the Query Selector in action, I'm going to create two functions. So let's type function. Let's type let's type bring it. Now in here we type document dot, and now we type the Query Selector. And for all of you guys that already did jQuery and JavaScript, this is very, very basic. So Jquery Selector is a function that will return the whatever we type in, whatever ID or class we type inside the parenthesis. So I want to return or to grab the first. So we type in here, we type div first. Okay. And now the action I want to give it is on click return, on click equals to a function that I'm going to create now. Basically, let's type alert. Okay. And now I'm going to create the alert function. Let's type alert. Instead of alert, it may cause some confusion with the alert predefined function. Let's type save. Parenthesis here, it's a function. And now here we can type alert. And here let's type you clicked something. Okay, let's save that. Now after the functions, to have this all working, we need to type the window on load and the bring it function. Bring it, there it is. Let's save this. Now let's see if it works. When the page loads, it will call automatically the bring it function, and that will query. What this document query selector will do is query one by one the lines that I have in here in the page. It will search for the first ID, which is this one, first, and will call the say and will pop up alert, the alert you clicked something. when I click it. Okay, so I have to click the first ID for that to happen. So I'm going to show you right away how this works. Let me just click here, Chrome, sorry, run here, Chrome. Okay, there it is. So we have these three different my first JavaScript, second and third. If I click here, nothing happens. If I click here, nothing happens. And if I click here, there it is. Boom. You clicked something. Okay? So pretty simple. For all of you gurus in JavaScript, this is pretty simple. Okay, but this is just to show you how we can embed now JavaScript with HTML5. And this is also a new function that I want to show you, which basically queries a selector in all the page. And remember that it will turn only the first one. So if we had here first as well, let me just check here, and I refresh. If I click here, nothing happens. Okay, this is it also has the ID first. The problem is that I'm saying here, Query Selector, what it does is searches one by one, top to bottom, and when it reaches the first one that has the name first, it's always and only that will work. Okay, when I click, not this third one. So if I go here, refresh, nothing happens, but if I click the first one, it's still working. Okay, now this is all for this video. If you have any questions, just send me a message or post your questions in the comment section below. See you guys later. Bye. Hi guys, welcome to another HTML5 video. So we will continue with JavaScript and HTML5, and this video I'm going to talk about a new function which is pretty similar to this, but it's called Query Selector All. So remember that I told you that we could, if we have two IDs equal, only the first one would return the action, which is on click say, and the alert you clicked something. Only the first one, okay? Because it reads from top to bottom, line by line, and when it reaches the first one that it says ID first, it stops there, and this is what where the on click will work. It will not work on this one, even if it has the first as an ID. Now to return this one and this one, so every single ID that says first, to do that and make the third one work as well, when I click it, it will return the alert box. To do that, we have to change some things in here. First of all, let's take this out. Okay, the on click, and in here let's create a variable list equals document query selector, and now we type all. Okay, what this will do is query selector or query select all the IDs first, and then down here we will create a for loop with var I equals 0, and I list length, which is the length of the list, because this will be, or this is now an array. Okay, what basically this will return, the query selector all is an array with all the IDs that have the name first, which basically are two, this one and this one. So we have an array of two elements. Okay, now we will proceed with the loop of all of them. After length semicolon, don't forget that, I++. This will loop through the array, and now we type list square brackets I dot on click, this is the action, equals say. Okay. Now this basically will loop through all the arrays that have returned the ID first, the elements with the name first, which is this one and this one, as I told you. And basically that will work perfectly, hopefully, in our web browser. So let's refresh first. Now if I click here, my first JavaScript, I click it, you click something, it works, the alert box. If I click my second JavaScript, nothing works. If I click my third JavaScript, it works as well. Perfect. Okay. It's just an example, a little bit more complex with a for loop, and this is basically what the Query Selector all does. You can also define whether you want only the first one or this one to work. Okay, and to do that, it's pretty easy. Let's delete the for loop. Now in here we type list, and remember when we create an array, to select the elements inside the array, in this case we have two. The first one would be 0 and the second one would be 1. So an array always starts with values in 0, as you remember. So let's say I want only the second one to work, which is the second one is this one here. Dot, oops, not in click, is on click, equals say. I'll save that. Let's return here, refresh, and if I click the first one, nothing happens. The second one, of course, nothing happens. If I click the third one, which is the second one in the array, you click something. It works. Okay. Let's, instead of 1, let's put 0. Save it. Refresh. I'm clicking the third one, nothing happens. And there it is. If I click the first one, there it is. Okay, so this is how you can use Query Selector all, and that's pretty much it. If you have any questions, you already know, just send me a private message or post your questions down in the section below. See you guys later, and happy coding. Hello guys, welcome to a new video on HTML5 and CSS3 chapter. In this video we will learn how to start putting a nice, cool, plain video on your website. So the first thing I want you guys to do is, from the last video, I had this code all from the last video. Let's clean the body section. We will not need the javascript.js anymore. And let's clean this as well, the title and the script. Save this. Okay, so HTML5 has a new simple way to embed videos of every kind in your browser. As you all know, I'm using Chrome, so I think that I'm not really sure of the versions of Firefox, Safari, and Internet Explorer. This will work because, as I already told you, some of the browsers, other than Chrome, some of the browsers will have some problems with HTML5 compatibility. Okay, so this for this examples that I'm going to show you, I will recommend you guys to use Chrome. Okay, download Chrome and use it. So we will avoid a lot of problems. Now, to type or to embed a video in your Chrome browser, just type video src, which is the source. Now this will search basically your video. So I think I have a video, not really sure, just a second. Okay, here I already have a video in in my desktop, intro.mp4. Okay, make sure you download an mp4 video or an OGG video, which are the formats that the browsers support for now with this tag, okay, for the video tag in HTML5. Hopefully in the next few months or years they will be able to put some other formats as well. So it's still in development, so let's work with what we have. So let's type here mp4. Okay, you have to close the video tag as well. Okay, and if you wish to learn more about the support that is given to the browsers, you can go to the website, as always, one of the best resources, w3schools.com/html5/html5 underscore video.asp, and in this page you'll find down here the supports for the different types of videos and also for the different types of browsers. Okay, you can check that out. Now let's go and also we need the controls. So you need to put this word controls, because if you don't use the controls, you'll not be able to play and pause it and all that. Now let me run this to see if it's working, and there it is. Perfect. Okay, so this is what I get in my browser in Chrome. Different browsers will have different players with different buttons, but this is what you'll see in Chrome browser. Now let me click OK, and there it is. It's playing right now. Perfect. Let's pause it. And also another thing you can use, it's obviously the width and the height. This, let's type width, let's type 500, and the height, let's type 250. Okay, let me refresh this, and there it is. Okay, so you can control all that. You have also here the volume. Okay, another thing you can use is the loop. If you use the word loop here, when you reach at the end of the movie, it will loop through, it will loop again, it will turn into the beginning. Well, it's not working because I didn't refresh, I think. Let me check that out. Okay, 225, 226, and there it is. Okay, it returns back to the beginning and it plays again. Awesome. Now, something else you can use is a thumbnail for when the user reaches your web page. You'll have a thumbnail or a screenshot in the video player. Okay, static image. To do that, you have to type poster equals, and here you type the image that you want to put in there. Let's say I'm gonna use, let me check, HTML5.jpg, which is the image that I have already in my desktop. Make sure that the image is in the same directory that your test.html. Okay, so if I go here and refresh, boom, perfect. This is the image that I have, and when I click play, it runs the video. Okay, but the image that this is the image that I have, HTML5.jpg. Awesome. Another thing you can use, autoplay. Probably you already know what this means. This basically what this will do is when I reach or refresh the page, automatically the video plays on. And this is this is it for now. If you have any questions, just send me a message or post your questions in the comment section below. See you guys in the next video. Bye. Hello guys, welcome to another video tutorial on HTML5 and CSS3. In this video I'm gonna show you how to start creating the drag and drop feature on HTML5 in your browser. So I deleted a few things here in the code, and we'll start from scratch basically. In the body section, the first thing I want you guys to do is to create a div ID. So I'm going to show you how you can grab with your mouse, grab an image and drag it into other section of the web page, and then you can also drag it back. Okay, so back and forth you'll be able to drag your image. Pretty awesome feature. I think we did that feature in Jquery, if I remember correctly, but this is only using a few functions on JavaScript and HTML5. So let's continue creating the div. Let's create a div ID. Let's call it div1, and for now let's leave it that way. And now let's create another div. Sorry, let me close the div. Let me create another div. Div ID equals div2, and close div. Now between the first div, I want to put my image. So let's type image src equals, you have to grab my image, input it, and put the image in your test.html directory near to that file. And I have already my image ready, which is the HTML5 GPG. And let's give it a ID. Let's call it drag1. Let's give it a width of check 28, 88, and a height of 31. Okay, and down here in the div2, let's leave that for now. Okay, so we have our image ready. Let me save this, and now I want to create a few CSS properties for the divs, but I'm gonna create an internal CSS. I'm gonna put the CSS properties in the same file of HTML. You know, you can do that. We already did some using external file of CSS file, but I'm going to use I'm not going to use an external file. So in this case, the first thing you have to type is style type. In here we type text.css and close style. Now between these tags you can start typing oops, forgot here. You can start typing your CSS properties. So let me type div1 and also the same properties for div2, so I can put it that way. And here the first thing I want to do is float to the left with 100 pixels, height 35 pixels. Let's give it a margin 10 pixels, padding 10 pixels, a border, 1 pixel solid, and black. Okay, that's it. Let me check this out. Let me run this in Chrome, and let me check this. And okay, I did something wrong. Let me check. Oh, of course, I forgot to put to separate these. We need to put two selectors or two IDs in the same for the same properties. We need to put a comma between them. Okay, save that. Let me run now this. Okay, so this is what we have now, and I'm gonna drag this image that you can see here, drag it and put it in here. Okay, and we'll be able to drag them back. Okay, bring him back. So as you can see, I'm not able to do nothing right now. We only have two squares here in the image. So to make that work, let's go back. We have to start doing some JavaScript, and you already know that to create or start doing some JavaScript, we will need the script enclose script. You can still do the type text blah 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 if you want to, or you can leave it this way, script. Okay, HTML5 will recognize the script as JavaScript. Now in here, the first thing we have to create is a function, and this function, it's gonna called load drop parenthesis, and a parameter that you should use now is the event parameter. So let's type ev, and now we use the parameter ev dot, and the method or the property, sorry, the function that already probably you know from the jQuery tutorials, which is the prevent default parenthesis. Okay, this function, what it does is to allow us to use the on drag over event that we will later, I'm going to explain you how to use it, but this basically will make it possible for us to drag and drop the element or the image in this case. Basically, this is saying we are using the prevent default to prevent the default methods in the browser to work, and normally the browser doesn't allow you to grab images and drag and drop them. So basically I'm using here a prevent default, so it prevents defaults, we can say laws or functions in the browser, and that way we will be able to use whatever function I'm going to use next to drag and drop. Okay, so let me type a new function, and the next function I'm going to use, I'm going to call it the drag function. I'm going to call it drag. We have to use the parameter ev for the event as well, and now we're going to type event, and we're going to use the data transfer dot set data parenthesis, and now we need two parameters. The first one is text. This is the type of data we are managing, and we have several types of data we can put in here, but in this case we will use the text data. And next we use event target ID. Okay, and this event target ID is the ID of the image we are targeting, or the target that we want, and the element that we want to grab, or we will be able to drag. Okay, in the web page. This data transfer dot set data, basically what it does is it sets the data type and the value of the dragged element. Okay, so now we are preventing the browser to stop us to drag and drop images in the web page, and we have a function also that identifies what will be dragged. Now we need another function to create the action that drops the image in the square. So to do this, we create a variable. Let's call it data, and this is equal to the event data transfer dot get, not set, but get data, and this will get the information, or gets the element that we are dragging, and it has a parameter which is the text. Okay, the type of element we are dragging, and now we type ev target type append, and remember this from JavaScript. This would append a child. If you don't remember, you can go back to the JavaScript tutorials. Make sure you learn all this. Otherwise, this will be a little bit confusing for you. And in the parenthesis, we type document dot get element. That's correct by ID. You already know. And this has another parameter here, which is data. Okay, now this will append the child to the targeted box, and basically this will grab document.getElement by ID data, which is the ID that we are working. Basically, it's the image. Okay, now down here, after that line of code, we type ev again, and we type prevent default. Okay, make sure you type this as well, so it will prevent some other errors from the browser. If you don't type this, this will not work. Okay, now here in the body, we have to type in the div1. Let me check. Yeah, in the div1 we have to type a new event called onDrop, and the onDrop will be equal to the drop function, and make sure you type event, okay, inside the parenthesis as a parameter. Now also in this div1, we also type another event, which is the on drag over. This will be equal to the allow drop event. Okay, this basically, remember that this had the prevent default, so this will allow us to drag and drop, and that's basically it. Now in the second div, in the div2, we do the same thing. Now we can grab all this, copy it. Remember, I told you we will be able to drag and drop back and forth, so we will need to use the same functions in one div and the other, so it will work. Now let me check. Yeah, that's it. Now in the image, after these properties of width and height, we need to type a new property called draggable equals and type true. Okay, this is very important, otherwise it will not work. And another thing is you have to type the on drag start equals, and now we type the drag function and event as a parameter. And I think that's all. That's it. Draggable true, obviously, as the name says, it will make possible to drag the image. On drag start, it will do basically it will make possible to start dragging. As you can see, I referenced the drag event, which is this one here. It will basically grab and target the ID. It will make it draggable. So let's see if this is working. Let me run here, Chrome. Okay, here it is. Let me grab this and boom, awesome. Drag it back and there it is. Okay, awesome feature, HTML5, awesome technology with awesome cool effects. Okay guys, if you have any questions, just send me a message or post your comments and questions in the section below. See you guys later. Bye. Hi guys, welcome to another video tutorial. This is video tutorial number 21, and this video I'm going to show you how to work with audio in HTML5 or in your web page. So this is my test.html that I'm going to use to start putting an audio file in a web page. Make sure you have this code as I have in here. Clean it all if you have the code from the last video. And in the body section, I'm gonna create audio. Works a lot of pretty much as the video. So let's type audio, and then what we type is controls equals, and here you type controls, and here we close audio. Now when I said it worked pretty similar to the video element or the video tag, it's because you can still type a message for the unsupported browsers or the browsers that don't support HTML5. So this will not work and this message will appear, which is basically the message I'm going to put is this browser does not support HTML audio HTML5 audio. Okay, and before this you can type now the line of code to load the audio file that we want. So I have a little audio file, MP3 audio file, and I'm going to call it sample.mp3, and I have it here. You can see. Oops, sorry. So that's the audio file that I'm going to load. And in audio for HTML5, some browsers support different kind of type of files. So I know that MP3 is supported, but for example on Firefox I think MP3 is not supported. So a bunch of different type of audio files are supported by one browser, and some other type of audio files are not supported by other browsers. So to make sure that you have the correct browser and the correct audio type of file, you can go to here. Okay, W3 Schools, as always, one of the best resources for you to learn. HTML5 _audio ASP. Okay, and there you will have here the audio formats and browser support and all the support that you can give or you can have in your different types of files in different browsers. Okay, check that out. Make sure you have the correct browser. Obviously, I recommend you always to use Chrome for HTML5. It's the most advanced browser and the browser that supports HTML, full HTML5 features. Now, here we're going to type source src equals and the name of your file that you want to play. And the name of the file is sample mp3. And here we're going to type the type of file, which is audio, and in this case with mp3 you have to type mpeg, audio mpeg, and that's it. Okay, now let's save this, and down here, well, I'm gonna leave it this way. So basically this is it, and let's see if it's working. So let me launch this in Chrome, and here it is. Awesome. So let me play. Okay, works perfectly, and this basically this is it. Pretty simple. And if you have any questions, send me a message or post your questions in the section below. See you guys in the next video. Bye. Hello guys, welcome to another video on HTML5 and CSS3 chapter. In this video we'll start learning a very cool feature on HTML5. Another one is the web storage, and basically what we will be able to do with this is remember when we used cookies and sessions to store some values in your browser, so that we'll be able to go to other websites, but when we return back to that website, we will have logged in, our name, a bunch of features and values and content and options that we choose previously on the website, and they would still be there. So we use that and we create that with sessions and cookies, as long as the browser is open. So whenever you close the browser, all those features would be lost. But as long as the browser is open, all those values and all those options will still be there. I'm going to show you how to do that without having to use sessions or cookies in PHP. This is a very easy way to do that and to store those values or options of the user in the browser. But remember, as long as the browser is open, okay? So whenever you close the browser, everything is lost. So I'm going to show you how to do that with web storage. The first thing I want you guys to do is you can create the code I have here and link to the style.css file, and also link to hi.js file. I call it hi, you can call it whatever you want. So this means that we will use some JavaScript, and we will also style our page. The first thing I want you guys to do is create a form in here, and let's create 3 paragraphs. This is where I'm going to put the inputs. I'm not going to put a fancy form right now because this is just for a very simple example. And in here, the first thing I want you guys to type is 1. or in here you type 2, and in here let's create right now the input button. Input type equals button. Let's give it an ID of button as well, and value is equal to save. Okay, now in here let's create, or here in the first one, let's create an input type equals to text, ID equals to 1, and here let's create a text area, ID equals 2, and close it, and close this text area. Okay, so we are done with the form. Now in here I want to mention that what I'm going to create here is a little form with, as you can see here, with an input and a text area. Now for the web storage, or to store these values, this is going to be a value and this is going to be another value. Now the browser sees these values as we normally do. We call it a key, and the second one normally call it a value. You can call this variable or key. Okay, I'm gonna leave these here just for you to remember what these values are for the browser, or for the web storage in this case. So this will be a key or a variable, and we'll hold this value here, which is going to be whatever we type in the text area. Let me check this, how this is in the Chrome. Let me check this. Oh, I'm sorry. We have to create two sections as well. The first section is where gonna be the form. So the first section is going to be called ID left box. Let's close it here. And the next section is going to have an ID right box, and you can close it here section. Okay. Side section you can play here. You can place display results. Now we are ready. So we have two sections. Section 1 where the form is, and section 2 where display results is going to be. As you probably imagine now, what I'm doing here is to have two sections. The first section will have is where we can type whatever values we want into the form. We will click the button, okay, which is this one here, and the results will display automatically in this section, which is the right box. Okay, probably this is a little bit ugly now in Chrome. Let me check this out. Yes. Okay. As you can see, it's oops. No, it's perfect. This is not the example that I wanted to show you. Okay, here it is. Now, this is what we have right now. Okay, this is what you should have right now. You have the section 1 where the form is pretty ugly, and then you have section 2 with this display results. I'm gonna style this with CSS in the next video so we can have this a little bit more presentable. So we'll have the form in here and the display results next to it. Okay, so see you guys in the next video. Bye. Hello guys, welcome back to another video. We will proceed with the video with the form that we made in the last video. So now I'm gonna style a little bit this form or these two sections because they are a bit ugly in the browser. Let me check one more time. Okay, I'm gonna style them so we will have one box here and the other one next to the other at the right. So let's proceed. So let's open our style.css. I have mine in here. Okay, open. Okay, let's take this out. Save it. Okay, so let's style the first where is it? Left box. Okay, first ID, so left box. So in here, the first thing I'm going to do is to float this to the left, and oops, semicolon. Now let's give it a padding of 20 pixels and a border of 2 pixel solid green. And let's go now to the right. Right box, and let's float this to the right. Let's give it a width of 250 pixels. Margin left 20 pixels, padding 20 pixels, and let's give it a border of 2 pixels solid red. Okay, let me save this and let me check how this is going, how this is presented in here. Okay, this is a little bit too far. Gonna put it a little bit next to it, to this green box. So what I'm gonna do is take the float right out, and here let's type 300 pixels. Margin left. Let me refresh this a little bit more. Let's give it 150. Refresh. Okay, there it is. So what you see here is something that will be stored in two different variables. This will be stored in key, and this in value. And whenever I click here, the display will appear in here. Okay, the results will display in this box. So let's go back. Now let's jump straight away to the file, JS file, so we can start doing some JavaScript. Let's click open, and if you don't have this file, just create one. Where is it? A JS file, here it is. Okay, this is, I'm gonna use the window add event listener. And instead of do it, yeah, we can leave do it. Okay, you can type the window add event listener again. So I already explained you how this works. This is the first parameter. So whenever it loads, the add event listener will call this function, which is do it. We'll create that now, and the third one is false. Make sure you have typed this line here, and let's type in create the function do it. Function do it. Let me copy this. Make sure you have this below the function. Okay, in the function, the first thing you have to do is create a variable. Let's call it button equals, equals document dot, and let's use the get element by ID. And the button, you already know it's the this input here, okay, ID button. So whenever we click, we want something to happen whenever we click the button. So now I'm going to use the variable button and give it an event listener, and now we have three parameters, which is click. So whenever we click, pretty similar to jQuery, whenever we click the button, the second parameter is going to be save. So this is a save it. This is a function I'm going to create, and third false. Now we need to create the second function, which is save it, and in here let's create variable 1 equals document dot get element by ID dot value, and here we type 1. So this means the variable 1 will hold the value of ID 1. This is very basic JavaScript, okay guys, so I'm going to run this pretty fast. So now what we're going to do is do the same thing, copy for the second section, for the second input or the text area, and here we type, I think it was 2, the ID, yeah, 2, and let's call this variable 2. Okay, perfect. Okay, now we type session storage and set item. Now this is all HTML5 built-in functions that with this we will be able to create and store automatically a variable into the computer's the user's computer to hold the parameters or the values that we are creating, okay, or we are storing. So we have two parameters here, which are the variables 1 and 2, which will hold at the same time the values that we type in ID 1 and ID 2. Okay, so here we type 1, comma 2. Okay, save this. Now in here we're going to type the name of a variable that I'm going to create, which is going to be display. The name of a not a name of a variable, sorry, the name of a function, okay, with a parameter 1. This parameter will be the variable 1. Okay, so we will grab whatever value is typed in the ID 1, and now we create that display 1. Obviously you already know what this does inside this function is will display, we'll call the function, okay, will display whatever is going to be in here in this value, okay, in the input with the ID 1. Now, oops, let me create this function here. Now let's type var, create a variable right box, and this will be equal to document dot get element by ID, and the element by ID is right box. Okay. Now I'm going to show you a way how to access the variable stored in the computer, in the user's computer, that this line of code here. Okay, remember that I told you that this line of code stores the variables that holds the values typed in the two inputs, 1 and 2. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to access that, and then we'll grab that and make sure we display that in the right box. Now the first thing is to create a variable. Let's call it 2, and now we type again session storage. Okay, but instead of using set item, which is the way that, or the method or function that we use to set the values in the user's computer, we type get item. Okay, this, make sure you have the capital I. This will grab the values, and here we type the value that we are using, which is 1. Okay. Now here we type right box and type, if you guys remember, enter HTML, which is basically to put something out in the browser. And here we can type, this is going to be equal to oh my god, the variable name is, okay, and here we type aggregate the variable, which is 1, and here we type now line break, and let's give it the, let's type, and the value is, and obviously the 2. Okay, and semicolon. Save this. Okay, I think we are done. We have everything ready. Let's go to the browser, and let's type here, let's type Victor and whatever value EE. Let's save it, and nothing displays, so we have an error. Something is wrong. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot to put the parenthesis after the name of the function. We have always put parentheses in here. Let's go back to the browser, let's refresh, let's type Victor, and here let's type hello, save it, and there it is. The variable name is Victor and the value is hello. This is not very good. The value is space, there it is. Go back, refresh, Victor, type hi, save it, there it is. Okay, so this is a way that we are able to grab the data that we stored using the session storage, okay, and grab it and display it in another div. Okay, so we are done with this video. In the next video I'm going to show you how to grab all this and make something useful of it. Okay, see you guys in the next video. Bye. Hello guys, welcome to another video on the storage API. So now that we've learned how to display the variables that we want, or the content that we want from the inputs directly to the right box or to whatever ID or div we want. That was pretty easy for you guys that already know some JavaScript, but I just wanted to give you the idea and the core of all the functionality that we will use now. So this is pretty useless, this little program that we have now. So we can type here whatever we want, save it, and we have these parameters here. But this is not what the storage is all about. So I told you before that with this we will be able to type anything here. Let's say this is a website, so we type anything here and click save it, and this would be stored automatically into a variable in your computer, and whenever we return back to this program or this website, these variables will be displayed automatically like if they were stored in the database. Okay, so you will not lose, or the user will not lose the values that he inserted or the options that he inserted. Later on you can use this for a shopping cart or a profile of a user in your website. So it's very, very useful, and you will not need any database at all. So the first thing we want to do is, oh, I forgot to mention that I think I mentioned you in the first video of the storage that you had to use the key and the value. That's not correct. You don't have to use that. Okay, that's just for you to have an idea that the key and the value were the names of the names that we use to store these two data in here. Okay, these two contents. So you can take that out. Let's go here. Okay, it's still gonna work, don't worry. This is just for you to have an idea what we call the data. And if you test it here and type TTT and TTT and save it, it's still gonna work. What happens is that if I go to Google and return back, these are not the results are not stored and not displayed anymore. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to be able to go and navigate throughout the web to other websites, and when you return back, the values are going to still appear here, whatever values you typed before. Okay, so this is what the storage API is all about, to store values. So the first thing you're going to do is to go to the do it function. Okay, and here you're gonna type display, and let's leave it this way. Okay, display, and here let's get the one out. Okay, the parameter, and here as well. Okay, so now the function will not have any parameters, and here the function display will be called automatically as soon as the page loads. So this will be able to show you automatically the results, okay, of your content or data that is stored in your computer. Now the first thing I want to show you is whenever you go into your little program here, I'm going to show you how to type something. Okay, and as soon as you save it, these automatically will be in blank. Okay, so then you can type something else, and to do that, and always going to be stored, the variables are going always be stored in your computer or in your browser. When I say your computer, this will be stored in your browser. The browser is using a variable, so it will store all the variables you're using with HTML5. Now let's go back here and here. The first thing you're gonna do is, after the display in here, you're gonna type document get element by ID, and here we type 1 and value equals to nothing. Okay, this is the way that automatically the function will store the values, will grab the values, sorry, and will store the values, and then after calling the function display, these are going to be set to 0 or to nothing. So let's grab this, copy, and this is 2. Okay, perfect. Now the next thing is, in the display function, I want to change a few little things in here. The first thing I want you guys to do is, let's take this out, these 2 lines. Okay, just leave the first line. So we'll grab the right box, we'll grab the document get element by ID. Now in here we type right box dot inner HTML will equal to nothing. Okay, what this means is that whenever we type in the left box and click save, those values are going to be saved in the browser, but will not be displayed automatically in the right box. They will be stored. Okay. What we can also do is to create a loop, so we will display all the content or all the values that we already have stored. And to do that, we create a loop. Let's create the loop. So to do that, we type for, and I think I told you, yeah. Okay, I'm gonna create a way to, whenever we click the save button, the values will still be displayed. Okay, all the values that we use will still be displayed and will be stored automatically. So it's a good way for us to know what we are going to store or what we are storing. Okay, the thing is that those variables and values will be stored, and whenever we go to another web page and we return back, those values will still be there. Okay, so after that you can manage whatever attributes or options do you want to store, and the others that you don't want to store. It's all using JavaScript, so it's up to you to do whatever you want with it. So for, and here we type var x equals 0, and here we type x session storage dot length. This is the way we can use or loop through all the values that we will store. I'm not going to explain you how to use the for loop or what the for loop means, because if you don't know this, you should go to the JavaScript chapter and learn it. Now we type variable a is going to equal to session storage dot key, and here we're going to type x. Okay, so this is basically to loop through the like if it was an array. Okay, we will loop through all these values that we are storing in the form. Now we need another variable. To create another variable, which is going to be the b variable, and type session storage and get item. Okay, and here we type a, which is the variable here, a, which holds the session storage key. Basically, every value in the session storage. Okay. Now the next thing to do is, let's type right box inner HTML equals equal to whatever we type here. Now the thing is, what this will do is whenever we click the save button, it will display the values that we typed in the inputs, but whenever we click it again and put another values in the input, we click it again and that display will disappear and will replace that by the new values. I don't want that. I want the old values to be displayed. So we have a bunch of lines with all, like if it was a database, with all the values that we typed before. So that's what the session storage is all about. A list of items that we can store, a list of variables and values. Now to do that, we have, before the equal sign, we type the plus sign, plus equal. So that will confirm that whenever we click, the old line will not disappear and will not be replaced. And don't worry if you don't get the idea, you're already gonna see how that is gonna work in just a minute. Now in here, before the double quotes, you type the a, variable a, and here you can type something like let's say and here you type plus, and here you type line break. Okay, and I think we are all done. Now let me just show you what an awesome feature this is. I just opened the browser and refresh it. Okay, I did have the browser open, so as soon as I refreshed, I didn't have anything, and as soon as I click refresh, everything that I typed since the first video tutorial of Storage API appears in here. Okay, and what appears is the first value 1, okay, which is this one, and instead of and, let's take the and out and type something like this. Okay, and let's save this. Let's save and return back, refresh. Okay, perfect. So what this is the storage of all the content that I typed in here in the other tutorials. Pretty cool, huh? It's basically like a database. Okay, and this was the last one, Victor. Hi. Okay, now the only way to put or reset all this is to go out and close the browser. Let me close the browser here. Okay, and let me just open the browser now again, and let me run this just a second. Okay, so here we are. Okay, and now let me type hello and something. Save it. Okay, there it is. Now let's type hi Victor. Save it. There it is. Okay, so whatever you type now is going to be saved Okay, and you can still go, let's say, to another website like Google and the news and whatever, and if you return back, they're still gonna be here because it's a session storage. Basically is like a mini MySQL database inserted in your browser. So the only way to reset this is to close your browser totally, and when you return back you will have these in blank. Okay, so as you can see, it's a pretty awesome feature, and this will be able to, instead of using all the sessions and cookies with PHP, you'll be able through HTML5 and JavaScript create a mini database with all the options in let's say for a shopping cart, something like that, in your online shopping center website or something like that. Okay guys, so this is all for now.